Hello, divine, beautiful souls. This is the Energy Speaks podcast with your host, Catriel. We have a special guest on today. Her name is Sherri Keenan, and she is the owner of ZenfiniTea. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
I am so grateful to have this experience with you, and thank you so much for coming on.
I'm super excited not only to be here, but for all the things that you have growing. I'm blessed to be in this space. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What really, I want to share this right off the bat because of the fact that Monday we had a conversation. It was you, me, and Harmony. And I said in my mind, this really needs to be on a podcast. And I said, man, I really want to do a podcast soon. And I'm just like, I wonder how I can get that to happen. Well, later on that day, I go to 3 different metaphysical shops. I get to Serenity Now, and magic just unravels. And then one beautiful thing after another, I go in a couple days later to Envision Cafe, and what is there? A podcast studio. Okay. So one of the first beings I thought of was you and your vision of what we talked about on Monday with Zen City, and then everything else that you brought up that day. You have a lot of magic brewing, so please tell us about it.
Well, thank you so much, and what a blessing to be able to talk about all these things. And yeah, I really love the opportunity to sit down with people and have every moment be so meaningful like that day. And yeah, that was Monday. This is Friday. So let's just say that's been 5 days. So manifestation is real, people. Manifestation is real. So yeah, over the last year, Chris Eigenbrod and I should say, have been working together over a little bit longer than a year. I've been teaching yoga at ZenfiniTea. Her and I started working collectively, and we became partners and life partners. And in the journey that we've been building together, we wanted to create something really special and magical. So she had already had a ZenfiniTea, which is an amazing kava kratom bar in Newport Richey, Florida, on Moog Road in 19, right at 3501 Universal Plaza, and a great place to check out. We have a lot of stuff going on, and in that space, we've been doing live music and things like that, but we really wanted to build more. From there, I'm a yoga instructor, and we wanted to create a yoga studio, so we built that. We have a cafe going in next door that's going to be local vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian options, as well as what we are creating is a wellness center. And it is a Zen City urban compound, but we do business as ZenfiniTea. We do business as a Zenfully Good Cafe. We do business as the Zen City Studios, which will be opening on June 12th. We do business as Infinity, which is a debt relief business, and we also have our trading company. We do everything in-house, from making our own teas, our own kombuchas, to making our own mugs. Our intentions are to create a beautiful space for everybody, no matter who you are, and to offer everyone the opportunity to live their dream and offer their own perspectives through healing, and giving everybody the opportunity to find out what resonates with them.
That is incredible. And, I've only been there a few times, but I've had a magical experience each time. And I love, we also talked about this on Monday, how you have your alchemists really create alchemy. I didn't even know they did this. I just kind of asked one of the alchemists to create something new for me between the kombuchas, and out of this world.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that we offer our alchemists, who are also AKA tea tenders, the amazing people that we have behind our counter and our bar, who offer the guests Yes, magic. And the reason and the way that we do that is we offer them the opportunity for creativity. We empower them to stand into who they are as they're standing back there. And we really want them to know that in the ability to, serve customers and offer that beautiful service, that they're also becoming master herbalists. They're also learning how to heal other people. So the energy exchange and the abundance that we create together is really beautiful. And we've done a lot of work to create a carefully cultured group of crew members.
It's so important. I've lived my life that each moment, every experience that I have is put into this toolbox in a sense. And that's how I have so many different offerings, is because, there's a rudiment to everything. And I've not always had the best bosses in the world. And for someone to really look at it from that perspective of you're carefully cultivating this beautiful, different experiences, different toolbox for each being, that's really cool. And that's unique.
Well, that's kind of our goal. We really want to give everyone the opportunity. Everybody's an individual. Everyone has different needs, and we want each person to be seen for exactly who they are. We want their needs to be met. We want anyone to walk into our space and know that they're the only person in the room at that moment, and whatever they need, we have got something for them.
Wow. That's true customer service, and that's true family.
That's our thing. We are a tribe. We are one tribe, and our big thing is to tell everybody, hey, welcome home.
Oof, welcome home. I love that.
It started at Harmony Park, let me just tell you, and I just brought all of the gifts in my toolbox from where I've been, in my past and on my journey all the way to here, and just giving other people the opportunity to not necessarily do things my way, but to learn the things that helped me, on my journey and on my path. It's something I say about yoga, but Chris and I were talking about it today, regarding ZenfiniTea. When I always say when people come to yoga, they don't come to yoga because their life is working for them. They come to yoga because they need something different. And a lot of ways, ZenfiniTea is that for a lot of people too. If maybe things aren't working out, you come on in and see how your life changes, see what magic gets brought when you walk through that door.
I can be a true testimony for that. When I came in about a month or so ago, right before my large trip to, across the country, I should say, I literally was like, man, one thing I would really love to do is soul portraits, and two, it's Shabbat. This is the last day, for me to really be here. And I walked in there, and I will tell you, I got to do 5 different soul portraits that day, and it blessed my soul, and it took my soul to a whole new level to go on the road. And I thought to myself, I wonder what will happen when I come back. And of course, when I'm on the road, I have Sherri reaching out over Facebook Messenger, hey, when are you coming back? I'd like to talk to you. And I'm like, that is so cool. And it's been magical ever since I came back. And I saw you Monday.
Exactly. And that's how things work, when you come in there, manifestation, and that's our whole thing. I want this, it's going to happen for you. I would say most of our tea tenders, actually a month ago, every one of our tea tenders and every person, our alchemists, every person in there had met their partner at ZenfiniTea.
Oh my gosh.
Every person there. And it's really amazing because it's a place where you can connect on so many levels between our drum circles and art classes and all the different things that we have to offer, but just the opportunity to be completely safe and exactly who you are. Nobody's going to judge anything. And if you want to do whatever's calling you, you want to sit down and offer something, look what can happen. It could turn into something magical.
It really does. And, you talk about manifestation, and a lot of times, the way I like to manifest is, aligning with the higher truth, higher purpose. And I feel like you guys really bring in that energy, and it's really beautiful.
Thank you. Connecting to spirit and is really important to me. It's been a big connection in my path and how I've kept my sanity some days. And, sometimes I forget, and it's those moments when we are just about to hit our knees, or when we hit our knees, that we remember why we're doing things and what we're doing them for. And we say, oh yeah, that's right. And we can rise back up, and we could stand up. We could say, hey, thank you, God, or thank you, Spirit, for this opportunity, Creator, for giving me this chance to not do this for me, because it never was about me anyway. Yeah. It's all about planting that tree you're never going to sit under the shade of, right? And just asking Spirit and to give you what you need, even if it's patience.
Absolutely. Since you are a yoga teacher and you've had a lot of experiences, like, what were some challenging times for you that really helped you cultivate all these different practices?
Well, gosh, so pardon me if I ever get emotional, because I'm kind of free that way. But so several things throughout my past, we just mentioned this a little bit ago, have happened to get me on my path. One of the biggest things was in 2013. I had gone to prison. I asked to be put on my shamanic path, and that's where my journey led me, which was a beautiful blessing. I was blessed to be in Lakota ceremony, to connect in ways that I never had dreamed of, reading books that I don't think I ever would have been able to read, and really getting the opportunity to meet people and gain new understanding. From there, at one point in my life, I was 230 plus pounds. I began my journey with yoga and belly dancing in 2009. I began hula hooping from my first festival that I went to in 2011. 2013, I became a vegetarian vegan while I was in prison, actually. And in 2015, I went to Yogaville to go to school. And I lived at that ashram for 30 days there. It was amazing. And gosh, my journey has just kept me growing. And I got here to Florida, and I've done a lot of foraging and kind of getting weird in the wilderness on my own. And now it's time to grow roots here for a while.
Yes, I love that. Wow. Would you like to share what we were talking about earlier?
Sure. So this is actually really wonderful, because we just are getting ready to do something great. And so we're asking for any manifestations and prayers coming our way on this journey. While I was in prison, I had this opportunity to meet some amazing people and that do some really wonderful crafts and things like that. I had got, to make a long story short, a book got placed on my bed, and it was by Bo Lozoff, the Human Kindness Foundation. It was a book called We're All Doing Time. It changed my life. It led me on this path that I'm on. A lot of people in prison are amazing artists. They do beadwork, they do all kinds of things, and they have no way to sell that or to turn that into funding. I made a promise when I was in prison that I was going to do something about that. So my girlfriend and I we have reached out to the Human Kindness Foundation. We're hoping that they would love to be a part of what we are going to be doing. But Chris and I are going to be starting Confined Art. And what that is it's going to be a website where inmates can send their wares. We'll sell them on site on that website, and we'll put all of that money into their commissary so that they'll be able to purchase those items or do the things that they need to do, whether it's their very own bra or a candy bar or whatever it is, a stamp so they can write their daughter a letter. There's a lot of things that those little dollars and those little things make a lot of sense in prison, and they don't have a way to get that. And we want to do something to help.
That is incredible. Like, that is incredible. I don't even have other words for that.
So, yeah, we're manifesting that the Human Kindness Foundation, just because I would love to put something back into what they gave me. So we're manifesting them to reach out, just because I think we could do a lot of work across the country with them that way. We're going to start small. We're hoping to work with some people here in Florida as well as in South Dakota, where I'm originally from.
Wow. See, that is some true Capricorn, Sun, Taurus, Moon type of energy. You know, I like to call the Capricorn the sign of get shit done. More so, get shift done.
That's right. It can be a blessing and a curse.
But, you know, when you're doing it from the heart, that's what matters. And, you know, sometimes it takes those nudges and being very diligent. and pushing that energy forward, because who else is going to do it?
Exactly. And I really want to say that I know for me, and I'm going to guess for you, but I don't make assumptions. And I'm going to believe for a lot of people that are on a similar journey that it's hard. It's hard to create that place inside of yourself where you think I can be that person, or I can be the one to do that, where you empower yourself, or you be courageous enough to like be that person. So what I want to do, if we can in this moment, is like give everyone the opportunity to like be that person, and whoever you want to be, whatever that looks like. I just have to tell you, I drew a card today. I have shamanic cards, and I drew a card, and from what I asked, it was a shamanic mask was the answer. And the really great thing was, and I say this all the time, like be a poser, like be who you want to be. Like you want to be a medicine person, just act like a medicine person then. And that's how it plays out. And that's kind of the story with this shamanic mask, is you put that on, and then you can become that spirit animal, or you can become that thing you want to be, because you simply already are that. So I want to give everyone permission to know that anything you want to do, any dream you want to make come true, you can do that because you already are that.
I love that. I've carved out for this lifetime to make the impossible possible. And I feel like as we do that together as a collective, we are going to shift the paradigm into love vibrations and everything expanding into more love and light and truth.
Exactly. And that's just the thing, is doing it together. And that's what we want to create at Zen City and at ZenfiniTea. It's a big thing, is that we know we could do all of these little things ourselves, but why? Why would you ever want to do that? Like, there's so many beautiful perspectives on what everything looks like. We want to bring in what I call a militia of medicine people, so that we have the opportunity, hey, maybe you don't resonate with the way I healed, but maybe you're going to resonate with Catriel because he's amazing. Those things, and giving everybody the opportunity to find that thing that's going to make you feel okay today.
That's incredible. And with that topic, something last night I was talking to my mom with. She's like, well, what topics are you going to talk about? And you actually, the next thing I looked at my phone mentioned that topic. It's easy, to cultivate these practices when you're in a studio or out in nature. But when shit's going awry and you're in those chaotic places or even moments in your life, how do you cultivate that stillness, that practice?
Right. And my big conversation was, my answer was mindfulness and not creating the story. We kind of talked about this a little bit. My daughter Morgan has been missing for 5 years in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's a difficult thing every day, to kind of go through. It's something you have to go through every day. And for a while, I really struggled with all of it. And it took a little while to figure out what I needed to do. And that was mindfulness. And in that mindfulness, to realize that I can make each moment a little bit better than the last moment. And that's what it's really all about, like not sitting in it, not stewing in it. We can turn that fertilizer. You can either keep watering it, keep making it muddy, or you can start churning it and working it. And you could turn that shit into fertilizer, right? And you can start growing towards that light. And all it takes is a conscious choice. And I know it sounds hard, and I know it doesn't seem like that way, but yeah, sometimes it is flipping a switch. Just making that choice, like, hey, stop everything. What is really happening? Do I have to be anxious? Do I have to be depressed? Do I have to feel these things? What's happening? Nothing's happening. I'm going to be okay, and taking a next step forward.
Yeah. Wow. That's a tough one right there. My heart goes out to you, seriously. And
thank you.
I'm just sitting out, like just this magnetic heart energy to connect you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I tell everybody, says, I can't imagine. And I said, don't imagine that. Just imagine her coming home. That's the manifestation. And so on Mondays, we kind of try to say at 11:11 a meditation at that time. And not just for Morgan, for anybody displaced. Another thing that we are doing at ZenfiniTea, I do want to mention also, is we have our Zen giving gear. So the second Tuesday of every month, we accept backpacks and items for backpacks for homeless and anybody that is affected by human trafficking. We also have our Drag Queen Bingo on that night, and all of the proceeds from Drag Queen Bingo go towards local organizations also helping those that are homeless and possibly affected by human trafficking.
Wow, that's incredible.
We are trying to find ways that we can give back. So our thing is like, if there's something that is harming us, it must be harming someone else. So how can we give back? If I can't find my child or I can't help her, maybe I can help someone else's.
God, yes. Yes. So I put that call out to all of, anyone listening, whoever can help with this vision, please reach out. Come down to ZenfiniTea, Zen City, or contact, myself, Catriel, or Sherri Keenan. We're all here to help each other, like you said. And, we need to start taking that action to do so.
Right. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. It just takes some effort, and we can't do it alone. So when you go to the store, grab an extra pair of socks and drop it off on your way. It's really, little tiny simple acts of kindness, and it doesn't even have to be for us. You don't even have to bring that pair of socks in. You see somebody homeless on the street to hand them to them.
Yes. So what are some items that they can bring other than socks?
So all kinds of different things. You can bring backpacks, especially backpacks, any kind of food, razors, hand sanitizer, big things you'd be surprised that people really like, razors, lipstick, eyeshadow. We're not here we're here to empower all of these people to find ways, anybody who's homeless, whatever choices that they want to make, to be able to empower, to feel safe, feel wonderful and beautiful that day.
I love that. I'm going to speak on eyeshadow, which is really funny.
Let's do that.
I feel like my friend Aurora would be really funny, really laughing at me on that one. But, it's so empowering, just like a little tiny bit of makeup. My granny actually had a practice. Every single morning she'd put on her makeup, and it wasn't to put on a mask. It was to empower herself. She took time for herself every morning, and that was the way she chose to do it. And she was very, very intentional with this practice. And that also, led to my mom doing the same thing. And, there's been a lot of judgment and stuff like that. And I think, if it empowers you, do it. As long as you're not harming anyone. Do something for yourself, empower yourself, get out there and find your own way to do that.
That's right. Exactly. I just shared a year's photo shoot yesterday from, again, I had gained a lot of weight. I had lost a lot of weight. I have loose skin in some areas that makes me uncomfortable. So I did a photo shoot wearing just a pair of boxers and boxing gloves, showing the rest of my body because I wanted to take the gloves off so I can love myself. Empowerment looks different to everybody else. I don't think there's any room for shame in your game. I think we should just say, hey, if you're showing up for yourself, that is more than enough today.
Yes, definitely. Didn't think I would be talking about makeup on my show, but I love it.
Hey, you never know what's going to come up.
That's what I love about these podcasts. It's my first day doing this, and it's so natural. We all have truths. We all, this is a way of empowering myself to speak my truth. And I want to be able to share that with someone else and their true, authentic voice. A lot of times we live life trying to plan things, and, Spirit is already planning things.
It's amazing. I love it. And, here's the thing, the faster you move, the slower you go. Sometimes it's better to just take your time and see what happens. It's going to happen the way it's meant to you anyway. And sometimes if you slow down and you really watch how things are playing out, it's kind of funny how the universe works.
It really is. Especially one of my favorite days of the week is Jupiter Day, which is Thursday. It's all about expansion, and I I literally get strokes of luck on Jupiter Day. Just the most random but beautiful things just falling into my lap. And it's the important part is to really have your heart there to be able to receive those beautiful strokes of magic.
Right. And there we come back to mindfulness. Look at that full circle.
I love
it. Yeah. So, and that's really what it's all about, is just being in the present moment. You know, I think a big part of our conversation was like, you know, coming to this was just because after this last year of COVID and all the things that we've been through and all of the stuff that's happened, I think it's a great reminder to start at the beginning of our practice, like we're youngsters, even if it's like how to meditate, inhale, exhale, and just restarting that program of mindfulness, reminding ourselves that if we're thinking about the past, that's what depression looks like. If we're thinking about the future, that's what anxiety looks like. But if we come to the present moment, we can really feel what's going on around us, and we find gratitude in the present moment. We can find joy, because you can't be grateful and unhappy at the same time.
Ooh, that is some powerful stuff right there. And I really liked how you expressed the past of depression and anxiety of the future. And that's really what that is. It's, you know, like, how do we become present, truly present in the here and now? That's what matters, because when we're present, things can happen. Like, if our soul essence is way out over in this direction or in that direction, like, how can we fully be our authentic self, you know?
Right. Right. And how do you find that, like, that natural you? If you are blaming yourself for the coulda, woulda, shouldas, and if you're trying to solve a million things that haven't happened yet, like, what does your experience really look like? What are you doing to your nervous system? What are you saying to yourself in those stories of I coulda, woulda, shouldas? Like, are you telling yourself you're a bad person because you should have done things differently, rather than being fully present and being like, hey, that really sucked, but what a great lesson. And I know that doesn't sound great, but it works. I learned from that. I'm surely not going to do that shit the same way again, you know, right? I'm not doing that again. So I'm going to do that differently this time, and this time I'm going to be successful. And empowering yourself to take the next step into that same journey, because now you aren't an infant on that path, right? You've now become more of a master just because you failed and you learned how it doesn't work.
Right. You know, part of what happened today, my first, you know, spot of where I was recording, starting this whole podcast series, I get into the studio and I realize I don't have all the items I need to be successful today. And what's really interesting is I felt that, you know, a lot of us have, you know, some type of, you know, gifts of kind of knowing a little bit what's coming. And I'm really in tune with that type of stuff. And I even set an hour aside to allow for myself to be prepared. But what really came in was being present and knowing how to take action to get it done so that I could be successful today. Because even though the whole hour plan, even though I planned that out, you know, that didn't work out where I could go get my stuff because I didn't get into the studio on time, or, you know, in here in time for me to go and know what was missing. I had to take action and really go to the right places in order to get that goal accomplished for this to even happen right here, right now.
Right. And that's what mindfulness looks like. If you move from a place of anxiety or panic, are you going to move in the right direction? Mm-hmm. Now, you as yourself as a person, and I am going to only speak for me as myself as a person, in the place where I used to be, in a place where I moved from constant anxiety and I moved in depression and I moved in those areas, I didn't trust myself because I didn't know what I truly wanted to do. I didn't know, because I have all of these options, you know, the scales, those Libra scales, left or right, which way. And I didn't know how to take the time and be present enough to make a conscious decision that I could live with until now.
Wow. You know, since you're a yoga teacher and you're really probably experienced in the chakras, we hold a lot of stress in the solar plexus. what are some, techniques and tools that we could utilize to really empower ourselves and build up that area?
So a lot of wonderful things that you can start with are, get out in the sunshine. Get that yellow light in and get that vitamin D. We want to get that serotonin and that dopamine moving. So doing really loving stuff for yourself. Ways you can empower yourself, take a hot bath.
Ooh.
I mean, there's super great ways. Create a vision board. You can find ways, do something for someone else that they're never going to know about. There are ways to really decide. Take the first step. Look at yourself in the mirror. Say something loving. There are a million ways. Come to ZenfiniTea. Have a glass of tea. Do something that feels really great. Go put your feet in the sand. There's 1,000 ways to empower yourself. Put on your lipstick and your eyeshadow, right? There's 1,000 ways to empower yourself every day to just step into that core, step into that center, and decide that you are not enough. Because if not you, who? And if not now, when?
Ooh, I love it.
I was just saying, it's interesting. I was talking to my girlfriend this morning, and for some reason, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali came up. And I said to her, do you know what the first word in the Yoga Sutras are? She said, no, I don't. I said, we should Google it. We Googled it. The first word in the Yoga Sutras is now. Now begins our journey.
Whoa.
So I just had to share that.
That's really cool. And what you...
So the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is a book written thousands of years ago, and it is kind of a guidebook to life. And it kind of gives you examples of just the beginning on how to do things as a human, all the way to learning how to do things as a yogi and as a conscious being.
I love that. So it's funny, in our last episode with Chris Flanders, we mentioned the 21 Lessons of Merlin. So we have now 2 books that we've referenced of like how to live life, practical ways.
Right. And I did mention another great book earlier, and I will say it again because it's too good. And it is We're All Doing Time. And it is a book written for people that are in prison, but I will tell you that we're all doing time one way or another, whether we're worrying about what other people think of us and confining ourselves in our body, or if we're not empowering ourselves to take the next step and do something amazing that we can do, we are imprisoning ourselves in that past and that not being good enough. So be mindful, step into your power, walk forward, because really, like, you are your own creator. You are you. You are your own guru.
Ooh, I love it. You have so many cool little tips and little like acronyms. I love it.
I've spent a lot of time practicing and a lot of time, again, falling down and hitting my knees.
Yeah. And, sometimes that's where it's at, is to get into a space of realizing that you can't do it all and you need to just fall and cry it out and be in complete, submission to the universe of saying, hey, what do I do next?
Right. And just giving into that moment and just being absolutely whatever puddle of mess it is. And then choosing to practice. I mean, that's where it really comes in. I told my girlfriend, I go, this is the suck. This is the suck. Being a spiritual person doesn't look like, this grand enlightenment, because where are you really going, right? Where are you going? You're still going to be here. So what does it look like? It looks like you giving yourself the freedom to be okay, to practice right now, even if you have to practice 1,000 times a day.
Gosh, yeah. Practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah, right. I used to say, practice makes perfect. Now I practice because I'm perfect.
Ooh, that's cool. There was something that we spoke about on Monday that I thought was really cool. Going out I would love to take some beings out into like a chaotic place like you had mentioned and just see how you can find stillness in those places,
I do. And when I was at yoga school, it was really interesting because that's the big thing, right? Yeah, you can easily practice by yourself, but Ram Dass says it right? If you think you're enlightened, go spend time with your family.
Right.
When I was at yoga school, that was a big thing. When you're giving somebody, for example, a yoga nidra, which is a really deep meditation where you tighten and relax your muscles and you go through, like a 20-minute to a half hour or longer meditation. And my yoga instructor, who had studied with Swami Satchidananda, she studied right under him since the 60s. She said, well, if we can give the yoga nidra in the middle of Times Square and it doesn't bother our yogis, I think we can do it here. So there is a way, and that is, that's the trick, is finding your peace in the middle of the chaos. And I, as a practitioner, struggle with this on a daily basis because, gosh, there's people who, I'm in Florida, right? So there's people who drive like crazy people, and beyond that, everybody's kind of got a little angst right now, right? They've been kind of confined. People have been telling them what to do for a year. Everybody was really wanting to break out, festival season, musical season starting again. Everybody's kind of ramping up. And I think so much has happened behind the curtains that now it's time to start showing ourselves, be really present, and show each other that, hey, we can be okay, be mindful, and not reacting to all of those little things that are troubling us, and finding our breath and that conscious, the inhale one, exhale one, and starting all of our practices from the beginning again.
It's interesting you mentioned the word reaction. My mentor from England, Robert Brown, literally said, are you going to react today or respond? And I really liked that, because a reaction is kind of like, it's very something happens, you
primal.
It's very primal. And it's not bad. There's a use for each one, But response is a little bit more mindful, and it allows you to just kind of take a moment, take a breath, and then do.
Right.
And again, like I said, there are moments and times where you need both. And it's the balance and finding which way is appropriate for each time, right?
Right. And I mean, when we come to reacting, it's the difference between saying screw you and taking that moment being hey, you hurt my feelings. Or, hey, that bothered me. Taking that moment to have that deeper conversation, because it's harder, right? Yeah. It's really easy to react and be screw you, I don't want to deal with you anymore. Or to be hey, this really hurt me, but you do matter, I want you in my life, but we need to come to some kind of an understanding because you crossed my boundary.
Ooh. That also brings up something that I've seen tested out, especially during this COVID season. There's a lot of beliefs, there's a lot of, opinions, especially with masks. And, of course, you have the symbolism with the mask. But I think the main thing is respect. Is okay, one person feels necessary that they need the mask. Awesome. The other person does not. But those deeper conversations of respect is so needed.
It really is. And you bring up harmony, for example. And a few months ago, we had a gathering at ZenfiniTea. And of course, at the time, masks were mandated per Pasco County. And so that was a thing. And Harmony does not choose to wear masks. So we honored her by bringing tables out front where she could comfortably sit down, and we brought our tea tenders out to her. Since then, we've put 3 tables out there, and we've also offered scan codes now, so you don't even have to come into the building. Obviously, the mask mandates have changed, but at that time, we chose to honor everybody, whatever their beliefs were.
And that's so beautiful to see that, because, that's how we change things in society, is respecting one another. That's where it comes down to.
That's right. And because it all comes back to the same place if you're choosing the right things. So my 4+ floor and your 5+ 3 are still going to get us to 8. But I don't have to force 4+ 4 on you. Right. And so we can just find compromises and ways to get along. Well, maybe it doesn't look like this, but what could it look like? We don't have to sit in the problem. We can find the solution.
Yes, solution. Solution.
That's right. Gaining that inner standing. That word changed my life the other day, you guys. There's no more understanding. I don't have to stand under anybody's thoughts. I can gain inner standing and really take in what this other person's saying so that I can truly receive their truth, not what my perception of their truth is.
Ooh, and see, that's something I bring in because I know this will be released still during Mercury retrograde. I feel like that is the highlighted time where we truly find inner standing,
Right. And I think right now too, we just had this moon and this eclipse and all of this. And I've had a few different people reach out to me, asking me about what's going on in the world with, because with the ability to reach out and talk to a lot of people right now are really depressed. A lot of people are really anxious and are going through some stuff right now. And so that's why we wanted to give the opportunity to like, hey, how do we come back to now? How do we come to this practice? How do we be in this moment? How do you be in love with your partner? How do you enjoy like every bite of food that you take or every step, or how do you realize that, hey, just take a deep breath, look up, oh, wait, the sunshine, you know what I mean? Or anything in that moment where you can be fully present and let go of the panic, let go of the pain, of the stress, of the unknown, of whatever's going to come, and just appreciate who you are and take one more step forward, knowing that it's the step your soul needs to take.
Oh, God, yeah. This is just a beautiful opportunity, and just taking this moment and savoring it. So much beautiful energy within this.
Thank you so much. And I am really grateful because I needed the reminder of mindfulness myself. Over the last year, again, I have my partner, Chris. And again, and I had, Carmen and I kind of talked about this too briefly, is when you come into a relationship with somebody else, and I know a lot of us have been with our partners and like really secluded with them over the last year too, that again, it's easy to practice alone. Yeah. But when you're with a partner, all of that work that you think you've done really comes out, and you find that wheel, that medicine wheel, coming back to those past things and those things you don't love about yourself, and now this person sees that, right? So finding that mindfulness and realizing, hey, I can keep growing and I can be really mindful and kind to this person, and find those places inside of myself. There's been times in this new practice with another person that's really hard. It's hard to find that mindfulness. It's hard not to react, or it's hard not to do these things. And so just this reminder of just being in this space too has been really helpful for me and my practice. So I want to just thank you for giving me the gift of remembering what it's all about.
Wow, I love that. Thank you. And hey, it's Venus Day, which, that's the highlight of, Venus in our planetaries and our relationships, and to cultivate this relationship right here is really awesome. And also a reminder of what that feels like to even have like a romantic partnership as well. Haven't been in one of those in a while, but I'm calling that in.
Well, and that's just it. So this is your reminder of when that happens, that those things come back up, and that it's going to be okay. And just to have those conversations, not those reactions, but those, the opposite of just being like, hey. And so maybe it's a reminder for both of us, because who knows, that person could be knocking on your door tomorrow.
Hey, that would be really cool.
We manifest fast up in here.
This is 4 days, so like I'm cool with tomorrow.
Right?
It's Shabbat.
It is. And to bring that in too, just so you know what we are creating together, we started last month a spirituality event. So that's going to be happening on the 19th, where you're going to be joining us at ZenfiniTea with some other amazing people. We have a wonderful woman doing Akashic Records. We have somebody doing tea leaf readings. You're going to do your soul drawings. And we have Harmony coming to do her soul readings. We have Shay, I should say, doing Akashic Records, and my amazing Jay doing tea leaf readings. I should call them out by name because they're amazing people. And so we're going to be we have an art class during that time. We have an art show from an amazing gentleman who's no longer with us. It's going to be a great an amazing day. We have classical music in the garden, and we have a poetry slam that day too. So I'm really excited for the 19th when you're going to come hang out with us. Come and hang out all day.
I'm so excited for that, and it's funny because I really in the past I've had to sift through whether I do things on Saturdays because it is Shabbat, but actually I sorted through that the last time I was there, right before my trip. I said, I want to be my true, authentic self and share my gifts on Shabbat. It's part of my practice that I don't charge, money on Shabbat, because, like that's how my belief is. But, I have no problems receiving. And to be able to, call in an equal exchange, however that is, I feel that's the key, is equal exchange.
Right.
And for us to honor each soul for that soul. And I feel like on Shabbat, that is the most beautiful day to be able to experience that. So thank you so much for that opportunity to do that on Shabbat.
Yeah, we are so blessed, and in most of our classes at Zen, I think everybody kind of has the same belief system. Even if a person does charge or things like that we have those spaces for everybody, and we don't turn anyone away.
Oh, yes, I love that.
Well, sometimes you can afford this, sometimes you can afford that. Like I said, sometimes just have somebody offering you a bay leaf. It could be absolutely anything that exchange. I think I told the story about this. It was something I had seen on social media, and it was about a woman who borrowed salt from her neighbor. And her daughter says, "Mom, why would you borrow salt from her? We have plenty." She said, "Well, my neighbor comes to my house and she borrows things from me. I just want her to know that I need her too, and I want her to realize her worth." And so giving that back to somebody else, saying, "Hey, wow, you've got a bay leaf? Cool. Like, that's exactly what I needed today. I needed to give myself a moment of smudging. So I'm going to take this and honor myself. So thank you. This is my gift back to you. Here's your paint. Here's your piece."
That's incredible. I love that. We're carving a new way of being in this society, and I'm really blessed to be a part of this vision.
I'm so grateful. I think it's going to be so amazing. And like I said, people are just coming and when you're ready, you'll show up and you'll find exactly what you need to. We are medicine. This is how we live. This is our life. This is what we do. So we want to just offer that opportunity, no matter what your medicine looks like. Maybe it's kava, maybe it's chamomile.
I love that.
Maybe it's yelling, "This sucks," outside because you're struggling and you need someone to hear you. Maybe you just need to come in and cry for a minute. Whatever you need, we've got you.
Ooh, I love that. We got you.
Always.
Yes.
Again, welcome home.
Welcome home. Is there anything else you would like to share?
Gosh, just everything that we're building over there, we want everybody to have the opportunity to be a part of. I'm so grateful to have been a part of this community for so long, even outside of Zen before all of this started. I wanted to say how grateful I am to my partner, Chris Eigenbrode, more than anything, because without her vision and her partner's vision, Nicole DeRosa, who unfortunately passed away unexpectedly, without their vision and what they started, we wouldn't be here now. And everything that we've built, and again, our toolboxes have all led us to here. And we are those people. We are the ones we've been waiting for.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining me on this show, Energy Speaks.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so blessed, and I can't wait to see everybody.
I thank you, divine, beautiful souls, for listening to Energy Speaks podcast. This is Catriel, over and out.